Hey everyone, it's Chelsea Schaefer. Welcome back to The Score. This is season 7 of this podcast. Holy cow, we have been at this a while, and I'm really grateful that you all still listen every week. We watch the numbers. We know that you all have stuck around, and I really, really appreciate it. Like I said, season 7, we're going to kick off like we've done the last few years with a horse market report, where I spend every episode talking to somebody different about what's going on in the horse market. And this year, I wanted to start out with Billie Jack Saebens. He is one of my favorite trainers to work with, but we don't get to talk to him near enough because he's kind of quiet, but that's okay. I like to make him. He was one of our very first interviews on the podcast back in 2018 when we started it. So I'd like to make Billie Jack visit with me every now and then, and there's no person I would rather kick off season 7 of The Score with than Billie Jack Saebens. Today's episode is brought to you by Spalding Fly Predators. Too many flies last year? Fly Predators can fix that. Fly Predators are the organic, natural way to dramatically minimize your fly problem. Learn more about Fly Predators and other Spalding Labs fly control solutions at spalding-labs.com.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
You're good. That's good.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm just working some horses.
Oh, good. This is the horse market series, Billie Jack. So tell me about what has changed in the horse market in, say, the last 12 months or even longer. Give me the trends. What's been selling that didn't used to, or what's it been like in your business?
Well, you see a lot more people looking for mares. It's a lot more revolved around a breeding program, where before, especially the ropers, they just wanted geldings,
Mm-hmm.
But I think now there's getting to be such a good place for the breeding, the where it kind of makes sense, kind of financially. There's a way out, I guess. So there's a lot more people looking for mares than geldings before. I've got 4 or 5 customers that would like to buy a good mare. And at the same time, it's a lot harder to buy one. Used to, you could go buy one anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wanted to buy a mare. So, but now it's getting pretty hard to find, that good kind of mare to go show and then hopefully put into a breeding program.
What have you had to adjust your liking for mares? I mean, obviously you had Sugar and she was great, but were you anti-mare at any point in your career?
No, I wasn't, because before Sugar, I had a sorrel mare I called Legend.
Mm-hmm.
So I've kind of been around mares my whole kind of career, I guess. And honestly, in the beginning, I could afford the mares, because nobody wanted them, so they were cheaper. So I always kind of had some mares around, and to me, it really, there's some people that are against it or whatever, and I always say, too, before, whenever I had a mare to sell, if the people would just come try it, they would probably buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just there was a bad rap for a mare or whatever. They're hard to deal with, this and that. But you kind of learn ways to get along with it, I guess.
Yeah. What do you think your customers, what's been the learning curve with customers to, because our industry didn't have just a ton of owners out there that were coming in from the outside. What have you? Yeah, tell me what your customers' experience has been like.
Mine's been great so far,
Mm-hmm.
But I try to be very clear up front as far as what our goals are,
Mm-hmm.
and if their goals don't really line up with mine, I just tell them that maybe they should consider somebody different, or and just be real up front, because it does cost a lot of money to kind of do this deal, and I don't want to waste nobody's money. And usually if I'm wasting somebody's money, then I'm probably wasting my time. So, it's been really good for me, but again, I try to be honest and keep our goals in mind, and it's gone pretty good so far.
Yeah. As far as the studs go, I just pulled up the list of heel horses, or the the final payout of Fort Worth, the American Rope Horse Futurity Association's World Championships, and it's like stud, 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 stud. The top 4, I think, were studs, and then 5 was a stud, or 5 was a gelding, and then 6 was a stud. Is DF Bet He's a Legend, is that a stud, or is that a gelding?
No, he's a gelding.
He's a gelding. But then, it's stacked pretty much with studs. What do you think? People are obviously investing in the stallion game and getting excited about it. How is that going to change the industry or change the rope horse side and then the breeding side?
I could be completely wrong on this, but man, talk about some really good studs. I think this is a time. I don't think it's going to be like this all the time. I don't think you're going to see 6 of the top 8 be a stud every year. I think like right now in the time of, you hear old stories. I always thought it was cool talking to Jay Wadhams or Brad Lund, and they talk about these old studs that I've never seen before. And I think that's what we're in now. We're in a period where in 20 years they're going to be talking about hopefully bigs and 7. Cade's horse. What's that horse's name?
They call him
Star Glow
7
or something
Star
like
Glow.
That.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Blindside. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty neat to see that. And then as far as the breeding, golly, it's just so big right now. If you have a good mare and want to breed it to a good stud, I mean, I know who I would pick, but you got a pretty good option. You got a pretty good option or list to choose from.
A little bit of everything. Do you have a cross, like a favorite? I mean, obviously, CD Lights and DT Sugar Checks Wiz is a pretty good cross, but is there another cross or another stud, like more of a senior stallion or a cow horse stallion that you're really excited about right now, or any mares that you're kind of strategically crossing?
Well, obviously, Sugar. We've got an epic leader 2-year-old this year that I'm really excited about. He just went to Ty Benson to get started. Because, it's kind of a fad or whatever, the run and cow horse cross. And I think Sugar is the perfect mare to do that on. And I know Trevor's had a lot of success with them at the shows, but I think it sounds like a good idea right now to a lot of people. But I think we're going to have to be really careful what mares we choose to breed to those run and bred studs, You
sound cautious.
But I am really excited about that horse.
Yeah. Because
and
you're
then too,
header.
just because of my buckskin, the CD Diamonds, there's been a lot of them that are good horses. Rent's done good on a bunch of them, and I think Cold Danson's had a few. There's those horses look good to me too.
And there's a full sister to that one. Is it 2 or 3 or 4? That's coming up.
4.
4.
Yeah, it's 4.
Coming 4. Yeah, in the sale next month. So it'll be interesting to see how those do. Where have you been finding horses for your customers? Where has been like how have you been? What's horse shopping been like for you?
It's been really easy lately because fortunately, again, DF and their breeding program. I don't know, we're 8 or 9 years into it, and we have 6, 8, 10 colts a year, and I've been able to sell horses that we've raised to customers and then keep riding them. So that's been pretty easy. And then, Shane Boston, he knows so many people and talks to so many people. He always comes across some good ones. So really, I can't really say that I've been shopping. They just kind of have been coming to me.
That's good.
Here the last couple of years. And then, like I say, the DF breeding deal, I've got nearly all of the horses that I've sold for them back in training again. So, and they're good horses. So I think we're kind of finally getting something right there.
Now I know you guys just sold one embryo out of Sugar by Woody Be Tough, right? That was the
it was Stevie
Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan. It was Woody was the Haley embryo. Gotcha. Yeah, so tell me, what do you think? What are your customers doing as far as embryo shopping? Was that the first one you've sold out of Sugar?
Yeah, that's the first one we've sold. That I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience in that. I don't think that's a huge thing for the ropers yet. Because it is a risk, and I think highlighting these mares like we're starting to do now, that's relatively new. So I think that's going to take a hold pretty good, but it's going to take a little bit of time for the ropers to grasp that concept. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not. We are not nearly as far along as in everything as the other disciplines as far as that goes. Today's episode is brought to you by Spalding Fly Predators. Too many flies last year? Fly Predators can fix that. Effective and easy to use, Fly Predators kill flies before they hatch, which dramatically minimizes your fly problem while you're saving you time. Don't struggle with flies another season. Learn more about Fly Predators and other Spalding Labs fly control solutions at Spalding, SPALDING labs, labs.com. That's spalding-labs.com. Are we going to see any of your futurity horses rodeoing this year? I mean, you and Coy are entered for the winter rodeos, so.
Yeah. No, I probably won't. I do have a couple that I think are good enough. But whether it's my style or whatever, I can't transition very good back and forth. I don't know. I got to really talk myself down at the futurities because I want to be really aggressive. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if I start rodeoing on those horses, they get just a little ahead of the game. Mm-hmm. So I try to just keep them real slow and real patient. It seems like them judges, if the horse ever, especially like if they ever, move around in the box or kind of want to leak in the turn a little bit, they'll dock you pretty good. So I try to keep them, I guess I'd say a touch green. They're not green, but they're not quite all the way rodeo ready yet.
Yeah.
And I try to time it out. I want to, by the end of their 6-year-old year, I want them peaked to be ready. Mm-hmm. But my 4 and 5-year-olds and even the 6-year-olds at this point of the year, I'm not really trying to do that much on them.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything as far as, some people have said that it's going to be very hard for the futurity head horses to transition into the rodeo space or the open jackpot space. It seems like, Trevor's had some luck selling, like Clint is getting ready to rodeo on Kobe. The Cody Snow rodeoed on one that did well, rodeoed on one last year. Did okay. Like, there's some head horses. It seems like the heel horses are going to have a little bit better luck, or at least an earlier transition. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know if it's just haters that say none of those rodeo or none of the futurity horses are going to end up in the rodeo arena, but there's a lot of them too. So I don't know. What's your take?
I think people take rodeo head horses for granted a little bit, as far as I don't think a horse that is big and strong and can run enough and have all the stuff that the sure enough rodeo head horse needs to have. Mm-hmm. It's pretty hard to make them back in the box and just be perfect every time and go and rate the cow perfectly and do everything perfectly, because that's a race car, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think I try to careful how I say this. They're really good. The really good futurity horses, and you can tell the difference. I think they will go on, mm-hmm. but to ask a horse to back in the box and not move ever, mm-hmm. leave and do everything, they may not have enough to them to be a rodeo horse. So I guess if that makes any sense at all,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because at the rodeos, whenever the gates open, I want mine to never move and just leave there like his tail's on fire, but that's nearly impossible to get. Now, when the gates open, he might shake his head a little bit, go run him down. Mm-hmm. That's not going to work at the futurity. You mm-hmm. know what I mean? So I kind of feel like that's where the mix-up might be.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, there's 5 or 6 that I can think of right now that I guarantee you will go on to be rodeo horses. So it's just really hard. Head horses are hard to come by, and it's hard to get one to do what those guys are doing rodeoing on them.
Yeah. And how have you been balancing, like, your rodeo heeling with your horse show heading with how hooked are you on the heading on the horse show side of things? How into it are you?
I love it. Mm-hmm. I would much rather ride head horses at home, slow working and doing all that stuff, than a heel horse. At heart, I am a header. I want to be a header. I don't know. It might be a little bit late for me on that deal, but I enjoy good horses and fast horses, And I can sit in the box and tinker with one without running a steer for 30 minutes. That doesn't bother me at all. But then as a rodeo healer, I do not want to go get on a colt and rope trotters. You know what I mean? So I think just for me personally, the heading's more fun. And then, I don't know. I just like riding head horses.
Have you been, I mean, it's not like you have to reach as far as, you know, as at the rodeos or anything like that, but have you been working on your heading, not just the horsemanship side of it, like on your roping? Do you feel like that just kind of takes care of itself when you're riding a good horse, or what kind of effort are you putting into your loops?
You know, the only thing, I don't really work on it that much, to be honest with you. And it's a fault of mine as far as whenever I do try to turn it up a little bit and reach or something, I leave there. My angle's always set the same, and I just ride until my angle fits the steer. You know what I mean? So it's pretty much the same thing all the time. I don't work at it at all. I want to, but I don't really have any practice horses that I want to be reaching on or going fast on. So I always talk about it. Like, I'm going to start working on my head a little bit. Then I'll reach about twice. My horse will step, and I'll be like, I can't have that happen. So here we go. Run it back in there. So
that's funny that you say that. Where are life after the futurity game for most of the horses that you've had success on so far? What does it look like? Have these horses ended up at, in lower number guys' hands going to the World Series ropings? Have you sold anything to like junior rodeo kids? What is life after life after futurities look like for your
a little bit of everything? A majority of us lower number guys, for whatever reason, I've got to be friends with a lot of businessmen type people that just rope on the weekends, and I would like to think that by the time I get done with them, they're suited to where they can go rope twice a week and go rope twice a week, and then on the weekends they go rope, and that's kind of been where majority of them have went.
What do you think your customers, or what do you expect out of those horses as far as how often they have to come back to you?
Like after I sell them?
Yeah. Like, do you take them back into tune? Do you?
No, not too much. I usually, if they buy a horse, tell them they're obviously welcome to come rope or do, whatever. And if they're having a little trouble or something, we can kind of sort it out. But luckily, so far, everything's kind of matched up pretty good. And I'm sure there's a lot of people like this, not just me, but like whenever somebody's asking about a horse, I definitely do not try to sell the horse. They come, and if it fits, great. And if it ain't fitting, I'm going to tell them, hey, this is not a good fit. You know what I mean? I don't want to sell anybody a horse that's not going to work for them. They may not know it, but I know it,
Yeah.
I can see that. And it's just, I might make a little bit of money on it, but that money's going to be gone, and they're going to be mad about having a horse that don't fit, and it's going to cost me money later. So, I feel like all the horses that I have sold, they've went to the right place.
Yeah, that's good. Very good. Well, what are your goals as far as rodeo goes this year? What are you thinking? Just going to see how it goes again?
Yeah, just win every time, hopefully. It kind of works pretty good. The futurity schedule, there's a couple that kind of get in the way, but through the 1st of June, middle of June, I don't really go to that much. What I do go to is my circuit rodeos, which all the horse shows are right there anyways. And then, just really got to skip one or two. And about that time, I try to, like all these 3-year-olds I got now, I'm making a point to ride the heck out of them for the next 2 or 3 months, to where when it gets hot in the summer, they can just be turned out and maybe go rodeo a little bit.
And what's going to be in the trailer for the rodeos? Your sorrel and what else?
The yellow I call Radar.
Okay.
I've kind of had him around at a lot of places. He's 9 this year. It's only taken me 6 years to get him finished, but maybe we're there.
What was the struggle, or what was the?
He's wild, man. He's just wild. That's the only reason why I still got him, because I can't sell him to nobody. I did sell him one time, and I tell you, you can clean his back feet out, you can do whatever. They took him to the vet. He'd try to kick the vet every time he flexed his hind end. So I think that was his way of saying he don't want to go nowhere. But he's liable to run off when you bridle him and be scared of stuff. But he is a really good horse.
I feel like you've had a collection of those over the years of ones that just they stuck around because you couldn't sell them and then forced it.
It's always them. Meant to be, right?
Yes.
That's how it always works out. When I had Grizz, I hated that sucker. I honestly, looking back, I should have took way better care of him because that was a dang good horse.
I think that was the only time you were ever on our cover too, was on that horse, which just makes me feel really bad, Billie Jack.
Yeah, it's funny.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's good.
We'll do better this year. We'll do better.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Well, anything else? How many Notorious B.I.G. colts are you going to have this year? Or I don't know about you, but any idea on the count? Are we going to get...
I don't really know. I think Shane and Jesse have 6 or 8 that they're getting started. And then we'll just kind of see how the 2-year-old deal, how they kind of get started. We'll see. There's going to be a bunch of them out there, so I should like to ride them. Yeah,
and some of them, are there going to be some that could go the cow horse direction? Or that,
with some of the mares that they bred to, that ain't sure a possibility. I think that just depends on what customers have them, if they want to go that route or how they want to go about it.
Does Ivy have any crossed on any barrel mares? Trick question. How's your barrel horse breeding program going?
This breeding deal, there's no way I can keep track of it. I don't know what all there's bred to. I don't know.
No, that's all good.
I tell them to let me know whenever Tyson gets done with them.
Yeah.
Before that, let's talk in about November, and I'll pick some studs out for some mares, and then other than that, I don't want to hear about it for a couple of years.
Well, very good. Well, I will let you get back to getting ready for Fort Worth tonight. I appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. We will be back next week with another episode of the Horse Market Report on the Score. Thanks for listening and appreciate your time, Billie Jack. We'll talk to everybody soon.